Hello, I'm Marin Barnett, and this is my video log number 2, the Shimane option. We had our first interactions this week, and it was very interesting. I noticed lots of differences right off the bat between us and the Shimane students, obviously, but there were actually lots of similarities that I didn't really think I would find. Lots of us were brought up in really similar, school upbringings, so even though there are obviously cultural differences everywhere around the world, there were lots of similarities as far as the schooling went. One of the ones, like when Professor Wong put all of the pictures up on the board, we were kind of just like shocked to see like the difference in like even what we wore to school. Like they were super formal and they wore uniforms and never really had like they had to like sneak like going around the uniforms, but we were kind of just like able to wear whatever I wanted to. And like we did Spirit Week a lot in my high school, which like we obviously wore like pajamas and like all neon clothes and like face paint, and that was like completely different to like anything that they've heard of. So it was kind of cool to like see those differences as far as like culture went. um yeah, so that was kind of cool. We had lots of differences just between like the two, like us and the Shimane students, that I noticed kind of right off the bat. It wasn't really hard for me to like come up with these, but obviously like the different cultures played a role. They dressed differently than lots of us did. We would kind of wear like Michigan State sweatshirts and like stuff like that, especially on the first day that we met them, and they were dressed more formal. But it was kind of cool to see like after they saw how we dressed, like especially in my group, they kind of wore more like Michigan State t-shirts and like jerseys and like stuff like that. So it was kind of cool to see how like they adapted to what we did, which I feel like I would do the same thing if I was there, because I would kind of want to make myself fit in as much as possible. Another difference that I realized was that they're like a lot more quiet and reserved than we were. Um, and obviously, like, I totally understand it, because like I would be quiet if I went to somewhere where I didn't speak the language firsthand, or if I was kind of just like new to a place. But like it kind of affected our group work, because they were just like, you never knew if they actually understood what you were saying, because they said they did, and we would try to like explain it like many different ways, but like we never actually knew, because they would just kind of like nod their head and say yes. And then another difference I realized was that they were like super passionate about the project and about even their presence in the classroom. And lots of us kind of were just like especially for me, it's my first class of the day, so I'm always like still like just woke up, like just got ready when I get there, like still waking up. And they were just like so happy to be there. So that was definitely different to see like people being passionate about being in class, because I'm usually never really like that. So going back to like the different cultures, obviously that was a pretty big difference between us, which was pretty expected. Um, they dressed differently, and like they kind of just like adapted to like what we did. But thinking about it, like if I were to go to somewhere different, like and I dressed different, like if I dressed like super formal, like the first time I met people, I think I would try to dress how they did too. So like I think it was kind of cool to see how like if I was in their situation, like oh yeah, I would probably do that as well. Like it was kind of cool to like I could like see like their thought processes. Um, and then after like I saw them like dress super formal on the first time I met them, like I almost wanted to dress nicer the next time I saw them, to like kind of like keep up with them. So it kind of like motivated me to like, oh, like maybe I should dress nicer today to like impress them. Like maybe I shouldn't like roll out of bed and put on a sweatshirt and go to class. So like it was kind of cool like to see how like it worked like both ways. Like they were affected by us and we were affected by them. So like I thought that was pretty cool. I also, sorry, I also realized that they were more quiet and reserved, which this definitely kind of had a negative impact on our group. I do understand where they were coming from. Like, I can totally see why they were so quiet. I feel like it's even scary for me being in a new place. Like, coming to college even was scary for me, like being in a completely new place, and I was quiet, like more shy when I got to college than I am now. But that's even like that's an hour away from my hometown. Like they're completely across the world. So like I totally see where they're coming from. They don't even like for most of them like English is their second language. So I can totally understand that. But it just kind of like was really hard because they weren't very direct, and I could totally like in the beginning of the class, like when we talked about like the like US students kind of like taking over the project, I can totally see where that came in, because I feel like they just kind of just went with whatever we said, which I didn't really like, and I kept on trying to like get them to talk more, but it's just like really hard. Obviously the language barrier is really hard, but I feel like they don't, I don't know. Like it took me a while to like let them to get them to like open up and talk to us more, and like once they did, our group project was going so much better. But I can understand why, like for sure, but that was definitely a big problem that we faced. And then also I noticed they're very passionate about the project and like their presence being here. It's like their study abroad, so thinking of it like studying abroad anywhere, like you would be so excited to go there and like so happy to be in class and stuff. But like that was just totally different because like I said, like I'm never really I really do like I like going to class. Like I'm like blessed to like have this opportunity to go to college and everything, but like I definitely am never like all smiles when I'm in class and like so excited to be there. Like I do like it, but I'm never like super excited like they were. So obviously, there were some positive effects, like the dress codes, like it kind of like made me dress up for them and like made me want to impress them, and like them being so passionate about the project in class like really made me like really like excited to work on everything with them, and like it made me excited about about the project. So I think that that was really good. Like that had a really positive effect, and it kind of like rubbed off. It was like a trickle effect on like our whole group, I thought. But definitely the negative effect is that we don't really know if like it sounds so mean saying it, like I feel bad saying it, but I just like don't know if they even understand like some things that we say to them. And like I've noticed that they use their teacher as like a barrier a lot of times, which I totally understand because like I'm not trying to like bash them at all. Like I would do the same exact thing and I see where they're coming from, but it's just really hard because like Juliet's in my group and she's really good at like talking to them because she like breaks everything down and tries to explain it like different ways. But it's just like hard because it's just hard to like talk to them when they don't really you don't know if they're understanding, and like they don't really like at first they didn't contribute that much to the group because like they didn't want to be like shut down or they didn't know like what to even say to us, so like that was definitely hard. But my reactions to this, it like made me emphasize with them or I'm sorry, empathize with them a lot, and it was like really like I could see where they were coming from, and like if I was in their position like I would probably do the same thing. So like it was kind of cool to like I guess I like had this like preconceived idea like oh my god, like they're not gonna understand what we're saying, like it's gonna be the worst, like to try to like have to explain everything and like walk them through everything. But like honestly, like I totally see where they're coming from. Like it's probably so hard for them to just come to a new place and like jump right into like our culture and our language and have to like do a project in like all English. Like I can't even imagine doing that in like another language. So like I definitely empathize with them. And even if I was like at first I was kind of frustrated because I was like okay, like they're not going to understand us, but like you like figure out like strategies how to like work around the language barrier, and like I think that was probably one of the most important things that I've learned so far in this process. It definitely has helped me in the future, like think of in the future like when I'm teaching my students like how to like go around these barriers and like bridge the like cultural divides to like kind of like make everything as easy as possible for my students. So it's definitely been a lot of fun so far. I'm like looking forward to like getting the final report and finishing everything. Yeah, see you next week.